So thank you so much for joining the fourth edition of the CGF Women Summit in Malta. And first of all, a round of applause for yourself, for all of you. Thank you. We are as well, having on the website, cgfwomen.com, the live stream that started. So if you have friends that are around the world, feel welcome to share the page for the live stream. They can join. We have people literally from all over the world that will be joining. So this room is full of talent, of women change makers from all over the world, of men that are allies of the cause of women. And all together, we are ready to live, a very inspirational day. So thank you for joining forces with us. Thank you for bringing your energy, your curiosity, your talent, your leadership, your vision. And we're going to have a very special day together. Right now, we're going to, first of all, start by giving the floor to the Minister of Foreign and European Affairs, Honorable Dr. Chris Fern. He was supposed to join us physically, but he was called to Europe for EU-related, job and mission. So, first of all, let's start with hearing some thoughts from His Excellency, the Minister of Foreign and European Affairs of Malta. Under your applause.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to address you at the CGF Women's Summit, convened here in Malta, and I extend a warm welcome to international delegates, speakers, and participants across the globe, across Asia, Middle East, Europe, Africa, North America, and Latin America. Your presence here today reflects the truly global character of the summit and reinforces the importance of dialogue that transcends borders, regions, and reaches across all the globe. I commend the organizers for bringing together so many leaders from across so many sectors and with one shared objective. That is to ensure that women and girls can participate fully, equally and meaningfully in all aspects of society. Yet as we gather here today, it is worth reflecting on why this objective matters more today than it has ever done before. We are living through a period of profound global transformation. Geopolitical tensions are reshaping international relations. Technological innovation is changing how we work, how we learn, how we communicate, and demographic shifts are altering societies across continents. Climate and sustainability challenges continue to test our collective resilience. The question before us is no longer whether women deserve a seat at the table. The question before us is whether any society can afford to leave half of its talents outside the room. In an increasingly competitive and uncertain world, the answer is clear. The empowerment of women is not only a social objective or a question of fairness, it is a strategic imperative. The countries that will thrive in the decades ahead will be those that succeed in harnessing the full potential of all their people, whatever their gender. This objective lies at the heart of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and remains essential to building an inclusive, prosperous, and resilient society. This year marks the fourth consecutive edition of CGF Women hosted in Malta, a testament to the continued commitment of our country. For centuries, Malta has stood at the crossroads of continents, cultures, and ideas. Today, our role as a bridge builder remains as relevant as ever, and we are proud to provide a platform where diverse voices can come together, exchange ideas, forge partnerships, and develop solutions to shared challenges. Malta firmly believes that gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls are fundamental human rights. But they are also among the strongest drivers of economic dynamism, of social cohesion, and of sustainable development. Across every sector of society, from diplomacy and public service to science, entrepreneurship, and innovation, women are helping shape the future of our communities and of our countries. In an increasingly competitive and uncertain world, empowering women is not simply a question of equality, fundamental as that may be, but it is a question of national strength and resilience. This principle has guided Malta's efforts to increase women's participation in public life and in decision-making. The introduction of the gender corrective mechanism in national elections represented an important step towards addressing the long-standing underrepresentation of women in politics. Over the past years, Malta has seen one of the most significant increases in female parliamentary representation in its democratic history. This progress demonstrates that representation does not change by chance. It changes when institutions, political actors and societies work together to generate and to create general opportunities for participation and leadership. We now look forward to a future in which the need for such interventions becomes a thing of the past and true cultural shifts take root and flourish. Economic empowerment, like political empowerment, is equally important. Through initiatives such as free childcare, tempering of benefits and in-work benefits, Malta has sought to remove structural barriers to women's full participation in the labour market and to support greater economic independence. These investments are beneficial for women and their families and contribute to stronger and more competitive economies. Indeed, one of the most important lessons of recent years is that gender equality is not merely a social policy issue, it is also an economic policy issue. It is a competitive issue, and it is increasingly a national resilience issue. Furthermore, in line with the United Nations Security Council resolution, I believe 1325, and the wider Women, Peace and Security agenda, Malta remains firmly committed to ensuring the full, equal, meaningful and safe participation of women in all peace and security efforts. Through the implementation of our second National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security, we continue to advance policies that strengthen women's leadership, amplify women's voices, and promote inclusive approaches to peace building and conflict prevention. This agenda is particularly relevant at a time when conflicts continue to affect millions of people around the world. Experience has repeatedly shown that peace processes are more durable, communities are more resilient, and recovery efforts are more successful when women are involved in shaping decisions and building solutions. Distinguished delegates, we are living in a time of rapid transformation, changed by technological innovation, artificial intelligence, sustainability challenges, and demographic change. As we navigate these developments, it is imperative that women are fully represented in shaping the future. Innovation must serve humanity as a whole. As we consider emerging technologies, we must ensure that they create opportunities rather than reinforce inequalities, and that women are not only beneficiaries, but leaders and decision-making in these processes. The question before us is not simply who will use the technologies of the future. The question is who will design them, govern them, and shape the values that underpin them. Artificial intelligence, digital transformation, and emerging technologies must reflect the experiences, perspectives, and talents of all humanity. The future cannot be designed by only half of society. As governments, institutions, and businesses navigate this transformation, our responsibility is clear. We must ensure that the opportunities created by innovation are broadly shared and that voices helping shape our future reflect the diversity of our societies. Because the challenges before us are not simply technological. The challenge before us is fundamentally a human one. The societies that will succeed in the decades to come are not those with the greatest resources alone, but those that succeed in unlocking the full potential of their people and of their citizens. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, platforms such as yours are essential because they transform dialogue into cooperation and ideas into action. They provide the space for ideas to converge, partnerships to be formed, and practical solutions to emerge. I encourage all participants to make full use of the summit, to build new connections, forge ahead partnerships, and develop initiatives which will continue to advance women's empowerment globally. The benefits of empowering women extend far beyond individuals. They strengthen institutions, they strengthen economies, they strengthen communities, and ultimately, they strengthen nations. The future will belong to societies that choose inclusion over exclusion, that choose opportunity over limitation, that choose participation over marginalization. Ensuring women's full, equal, meaningful and safe participation in society is essential in building more resilient communities, in building stronger economies, and in building a more sustainable future for all. Let us therefore move beyond declarations of intent and focus on delivery. Let us ensure that communities become, commitments become policies, that policies become opportunities, and opportunities become lasting change in the lives of women and girls everywhere. Because when women succeed, societies succeed. When women lead, societies prosper. And when every individual is given the opportunity to contribute, we all move forward together. I thank you and wish you a pleasant summit.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts, Minister Fern. And we are hoping that you are, contemplating the great impact that you are generating, through the live stream. And we look forward, to having a very special day. And we are very thankful that the authorities in Malta at many, stakeholder levels are standing up for the cause that is, carried out by CIGEF Women's Summit. So we would like to extend a special thanks to all of you, to the participants that fly from almost any continent in the world. Thank you for making the move, making the trust, and making the inspiration happen today. We want as well to extend some special thanks to all our sponsors that decided to cross a line and to stand up, which is, with the purpose that they drive their emotions, visions in their corporations. And because of their support, we are able to do this event for the 4th year, and we wish to continue for the many years to come. So, under your applause, I would like to extend special thanks for all the sponsors of the CIGEF Women's Summit. Now, let's get started with the first session. This is a session which is about women in finance, in investments, in entrepreneurship. This is one of the key pillars of building up societies. And this can happen through the many ways of collaborations. And so we're going to have the pleasure to see 2 panels to start this first session. One panel which will be, more on the investment side, philanthropic side of how we can contribute and how women are leading the way, the new trends in that field. And then we're going to have another panel which will be more on the entrepreneurship side, how women are standing up as entrepreneurs, as innovators to create new groups, new companies, new initiatives that will carry out the values of women empowerment and inclusivity, as well as creating value and impact to society. So let's have the first, panel. And I call on stage, under your applause, first of all, Claudia Marigliano. Claudia. Juliet, Valdinger, Juliet. Brigitte Othala van Habsburg. Brigitte. Ramona Cassar. Ramona, be welcome. We're going to have Kyra, Lüthi from video, and we are calling Dr. Salwa Arfaoui. Dr. Salwa, thank you for joining us from UAE. And Valentina. Valentina, please welcome. Thank you. Yes, you can sit as per your pictures. So, yes. Yes, exactly. That will be best. Okay. Yes. Your sheet. Yes. Very good. So maybe you can, yes, this is good. It's perfect. Yes. No, maybe you can go just one. Yes. Okay, you can sit here. Just so you have more space. Juliet, go there. And Claudia. Perfect. Very good. Okay. Yes. Perfect. We are ready and we are good. First of all, thank you. All of you, you are bringing innovation in the field of finance. You are making things better in a world which is most of the time dehumanized and cold. You are bringing emotions, values, and purpose in all your activities, and we are thankful for that. Claudia, to start, throughout your career, you have been able, to see and live through many significant corporations in finance. How do you see the sector evolving? How do you see the trend for new wealth, ultra and high net worth individuals, and how you see it from the perspective and lens of a woman?
Well, that's a very complex question, but taking the opportunity to answer to that. I mean, it's true that I think the financial sector has evolved very rapidly and is also going into a change where we see females coming more into the finance sector. And also, I think the clients' expectations, not only female, but also next generation expectations are increasingly. So this means also to the different financial institutions that their ability to adapt and also to come with an, I would say, additional service is most important. And I think we as female, we have many advantages in this financial sector as well. One is obviously that we are having, I would say, another emotional, empathic advice you can give to our clients, and this helps a lot to serve the ultra high net worth individuals and the families around the globe.
Thank you. Thank you, Claudia. We will jump to Brigitte and come back to Juliet to hand, as well the panel from the philanthropy aspect. So Brigitte, you are first of all having a cultural background which is so rich, traveling the world of many origins, and you are working and interacting with many family offices. This is your, engine and talent. Could you share with us what are, in your view, in this moment, the qualities to be serving in the best way this new growing industry, which is the single and the multi-family office that serve and defend and advocate for the interests of the families they represent?
Well, again, very intricate question. Thank you, Jonathan. Firstly, thank you for inviting us to such an amazing forum and having such an amazing panel and all the wonderful women I see out there. Now I don't see you because I've got my glasses on, but I will see you in a second when I take them off, but I need them for reading. Qualities for enduring relationships. I think the thing in my world, relationships are the real asset. Deals come and go. Everything else, markets turn, people change, they build different things. People's values today are different tomorrow, but trust and loyalty remains. That's the one thing that you can take with you. And they're the ones who bring you the opportunities that nobody else does. It's those relationships that last throughout enduring time. So when I think about what makes relationships endure, the first quality is integrity and discretion. In the families that I deal with, you don't say what they do, you don't utilize, push power onto others. Discretion is everything, and integrity, it goes hand in hand, because people will not trust you if you cannot be trusted with their business. They will only trust you with their business if they can trust you and the value that you have. So I work with principals, family officers, and many founders, and operate in spaces where confidentiality is key, because the next project can disappear by someone just saying a small word. And I think that's very integral in what we do. If someone trusts you with what they have and what matters most to them in the world, they will trust you with their relationship, with their value, and with their business. They will not if you don't have that. I think the second is consistency. If I look at many people that started when I started or had relationships that are 30 years old, the only relationships that don't last was because they lacked, integrity, relationships, and consistency, and being discreet about what you're saying. Anyone can be impressive in that first meeting. Everybody. Keep doing it and keep saying what you do and do what you say, and you will have them forever. And those are lasting relationships. They're not just a business deal. If you don't, focus on keeping those relationships real, they will disappear. So I think steadiness is also rare, and people remember it. If you're steady and if you keep on saying the same thing and you are integral with what you say, because you wouldn't want to work with anybody who doesn't have your same values that you do. So I think alignment is really important. The third is genuine generosity. Not fake generosity because it serves you at this moment or this purpose. It's generosity that builds with what you say and what you mean. And it is always looking at it from a picture where you can give back, where you can give something really important back to people, and you can give it back to the next generation, you can give it back to friends, to family. It will come back to you, I promise. And the returns always comes, like I said, it becomes because the intention was real. If their intention was fake, it will not return. So when something happens and it doesn't, and it becomes transactional, and you wonder why it's not returning to you, that's why. It wasn't real. It wasn't genuine. It was fake. So remember that when you have really deep relationships that you are going to count on for the rest of your life. Finally, alignment of values. As I said a little bit before, I think the biggest thing is that why would you put any kind of relationship, whether that's 6 months, 6 years, 60 years, with someone you do not align with? Your moral compass is wrong. You will not be able to give 100% because you don't align. And then people wonder after 2 years, I don't know why we don't get along. Because your values are not aligning. So you've actually wasted 2 years of your life because you didn't see that there was zero alignment to begin with. And I think that's really a very important thing, to make sure that you are supposed to be unique. Don't do what everybody else does. There's many. You are uniquely you. Remain that way, be honest, be yourself, and you will go very far in life. Sorry, I have to read. I had a little bit of a long night. Capital, partnerships, opportunity, they all follow conviction. Build the conviction first, the rest will follow. And again, I want to say what Claudia said, and I said this last year. The one thing that makes us unique as women, female founders, female change makers is empathy. Don't forget, you have a unique sixth sense in you, and that is empathy. It's feeling what your journey is supposed to be. Don't always look at the papers, don't look at the books, don't look at the numbers. It's what you feel and how you show that to others. So always give back.
Thank you. Thank you, Brigitte. To continue on the family office's role, we'd like to ask Valentina. Thank you, Valentina, for joining us from London.
Thank you.
And you are, a key person in the family office industry in London, so thank you for joining us. Generally speaking, we approach family offices not as traders, more as long-term value creators. They are there not to make money, but to preserve and to expand wealth for the sake of future generation. Could you share in your vision what are the principles that are recommendable from an investment approach at family office level?
Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for this question. It's very important, I would say, to mention the main principles that lead family offices in this space. And I have to say that in the family office world, where decisions are made in a very I would say, interesting perspective. The most important principle that endure are the ones rooted in stewardship, in clarity, and intention. I have to say that family office invests a lot in governance as a shared language. So they want to make sure to manage the conversation for the next generation in a proper way, and they encourage to bring clarity and decision in their long-term investment process. Family offices are very, very committed in active ownership. So they don't want to, they want to shape their investment decisions. So they want to influence them. So it is very important to create long-term visions and an active engagement, trustful partnerships with all the family offices around or ultra-high net worth individuals. So governance, active ownership, and I would say the most important principle in the family office space is adaptability. Adaptability without losing identity. You know, we live in a very, I would say, challenging world where we have demographics, technology, geopolitics changes. So it is very, very, I would say, tough, even for all of us, to keep our identity up. So that's the same in the business. That's the same for family offices, I would say. So the real family offices who thrive are the ones who evolve in this challenging perspective. So that's my vision.
Thank you. Thank you, Valentina. So generally, when we build the wells and try to drive the wells for creating impact, we generally need an expert in what we call, like the interaction of tax and the impact around that. We are very grateful to have Ramona Cassar with us today. Ramona is one of the leading figures in Malta and in Europe on the tax front. And so you are, Ramona, through the years of experience that you built, I've seen many successes, and you have been advising, and you are advising many type of families. So we would like to know from your perspective, how is the evolution of the concept of wealth? What does it mean now? Is it just, as well, beyond the aspect of just pure financial success, something which is evolving toward more purpose, more impact? What is your thoughts and vision on that?
So thank you, Jonathan, for this invitation. I didn't even know this summit exists, and I'm so happy to be here today with you. It's a wonderful experience seeing so many women from all different types of walks in life. I'm a tax practitioner, first and foremost, but I've learned that tax is not everything. So in answering your question, financial wealth is easy to quantify, very easy to quantify. Portfolios, real estate, it's easy to quantify. But the question is, what are the things that attack the financial portfolio? What are the things that attack wealth? And how can we make sure that the wealth that passes from one generation to the next? So I've seen in my practice clients coming from very wealthy families, and because there was no planning, no robust structures, no succession planning, that the wealth vanished. So it is very important for families, I think, to look at wealth, not just at the financial wealth, but a more multidimensional wealth. And what do I mean? So there's the financial wealth, then I always say there is the human capital side of it, and also there's the social capital side of it. What do I mean? So I think it's very important for families to invest in the next gen, to communicate with them, to make sure that they're not just inheriting wealth, but prepare them for the actual inheritance. Involve them in the actual activity, inform them what's happening, ask them to join important conversations. I'll be later on, also maybe we have the opportunity to speak about family charters and what are the instruments, the legal instruments that help us building these things. Social capital, the value of the family and how it is passed from one generation to the next. What is acceptable in terms of values? How important is the reputation of the family and how this passes from one generation to the next? So I think nowadays families look at, it has to look at more than one aspect. And from a legal point of view, obviously, there are many things to take into consideration. So when it comes to succession, there are many legal frameworks to follow. Which countries to choose. The tax, as I said, is not everything. So, and I've seen this from experience. I've been working for 20 years and I've seen different generations. I think in all the generations, it was very important to optimize as much as possible from a tax point of view, to have a zero tax as much as possible, to have low tax. I think things have changed a lot. And when I see now with the next generation, they want to pay the right amount of tax and they want to give back to community. So things have evolved. And obviously there are, as I said, there are lots of things that we need to keep into consideration. I don't know whether we have time to go into the legal structures now, but we can discuss it later.
Exactly. We will continue on that later, yes.
So
please.
My point is that it is not, it is about structuring, it is about tax, but it's about as well knowing your family and quantifying wealth, not just only as financial, but most of all human, and how to pass the succession from one generation to the next.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramona. Now, you know, when we have, you know, like the building of wells, we have, you know, like the representative and experts that help manage and protect the interests of the families. Generally, there is one sector which is key in the allocation, which is real estate. So we are very grateful to have Salwa, Dr. Salwa with us today. And Salwa is an expert in a very sophisticated and dynamic market, which is the UAE. And that is one of the most dynamic markets in terms of creativity. So from your perspective, Salwa, can you tell us a little bit about how you see real estate evolving from a very conservative asset to one of the new assets with a lot of dynamism and innovation? And how do you see, you know, it coming, you know, for the future, for people to choose this allocation going forward with more impact and more purpose?
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Unitan, again. And I always believe that this is a conversation, but the main conversation is after the summit. The networking we've done, that is where the real conversation starts. So I'm very grateful to be here again. Yes, if you're going to talk about real estate, it's no more anymore about construction or developments or properties. It's more about the impact the real estate has given for life. Now there is a lot of AI technology integration. We're using a lot of prop tech, sustainability, human-centered well-being. So the real estate, the whole sectors and industry has been changed recently. Like if you're talking about the last decades, AI and technology is really evolving in how we see real estate. The integration, how we are now, we're not only looking for smart investors, we're looking for investors who are not only doing a reaction, they're doing a prediction, they can do analytic. There's a lot of data, so there is a lot of resources. Before, the access for knowledge was very tough. Now there is a big access where we can get more opportunity. And I believe there are 3 zones where real estate is evolving. We're talking about democratizing data and we're talking about urbanization. And if we're talking about the UAE, I am already working in a global market, so I'm already aware. US, I've got North Africa, we've got in Africa itself, we've got in Spain, and recently I had the chance yesterday to talk to them about Malta. So we're trying to find out how people are looking to real estate. People are looking not only to buy a property to get a return on investments, they want to get a return on emotion. It's very important to choose the place where you live, where you work, where you connect. and where you can have your own retirement, where you can have a peace of mind. So property is not only about investments only. It's a self, it's worth investments more. So I go for that. I would emphasize that technology only will not work for real estate. Impact technology will work. How to use technology, how to use AI in real estate is important. How to analyze what you got in your hand. So nowadays, we're dealing with very, very smart. The new generation is incredible. And even there's a new gens of women entrepreneurs in real estate. I've seen a lot of women step up in the front, and that's what's make me more happy, that I've been challenging myself. Always when I go in a room, they said real estate is not for women. And most of the decision is a woman behind it. If a man comes to buy property, he will not decide until his wife say yes. So, yeah, it's true, right? So I was thinking all the time to push my women. I'm very happy that I have Women of Vision. This is a program where I teach women financial literacy. I teach them how to save and invest in property. I teach them to understand that you're worthy. You can manage a property. You can own it in your name. You don't wait anybody to gift you a property. Because for me, property, it's an asset where it can be for you, for your kids, for yourself. You need to create a passive income. So that's why I was thinking real estate is not for men. Actually, it's a woman thing, right? Like we are caring about decorations, about marble, about every details in the house. It's woman thing. Man only cares about numbers. How much? I will pay the bills, that's it. But we're more technical, so let's give us a chance for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we go back to, the essence of the why we do all of this, which is to create impact in the world. And we are very happy to have Juliet joining us again with us to bring her expertise and passion in the real philanthropy, or the philanthropy that is meaningful and active. Juliet, over the years of your deepening inside this sector to encourage stakeholders and multi-stakeholders that are dealing with the wealth to create impact, how do you see this relation evolving between wealth and purpose? What are the dynamics that you are foreseeing, and is there more reason for hope on that?
Well, I love, honestly, I'm on a high already from the panel discussion, so thank you, amazing. I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm going to say, but totally distracted by what they're saying, and there's so much synergy between what we all think and how we're taking away. But I think when you're talking about wealth and capital, I would urge everybody just to stop and reflect, because wealth and capital used to be in two boxes. There's wealth, there's financial wealth, nothing else about other wealth, but financial wealth and giving. And they're two separate boxes. And it's really only I would put forward that when the internet came about and it really educated people about what's happening around the world and the changes and inequalities, it was no longer just newspapers or the occasional watching the news. It's everywhere. And with social media and the outlets coming out, and particularly with AI, you are surrounded by so much news. Nearly everybody has 20 tabs open on their laptop, and they need to read everything, and there's so much information everywhere. And I think with this increased depth and breadth of understanding, we need to figure out how we are going to manage and navigate this 124 trillion intergenerational transfer of wealth that is already starting to happen, because people who own it see things differently. You have women who live longer, and so their wealthy spouses are dying and suddenly they're in charge of the finances. Or women have a bigger opportunity to be entrepreneurs, so they're making their own financial resources. Or you have the inheritors of wealth who are growing up with this exposure to the depth and breadth of inequalities that are happening around the world. So they no longer just see it as a preservation of growth and preservation of capital and growth of capital. It's how can I use it? It's no longer how can my wealth define me, it's how can I define my wealth. It's completely two different things. So it's no longer two boxes, financial resources and giving and philanthropy. They're becoming one box. They want to align their assets with their values. I mean, when you were talking about values, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. It's all about the values, because those two boxes are coming together. So it's one box, and really I hope that is the future and how things are going to change. And it's like ESG, we're not going to go back and forget about it. this is the way forward, this is the future.
Thank you, Juliet. If we go back to Claudia, and Claudia, you are not on the family office aspect, but you work with many family offices, but you are on the side of the wealth management and the private banks with Cité Gestion from Switzerland. Could you share with us, in your view, the fundamental principle, to join back to Valentina's questions, of preserving and expanding in a way which is safe and secure wealth?
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Yes, indeed, it's a little bit similar to what Valentina has before also alluded. But I think wealth preservation, it's something which is a long-term, dedicated management. I see that often people, they have not the time and patience for their investments, and it's not something which you can do overnight. So it needs to have a strategy behind the investment side. It needs to be long-term. You need to diversify your wealth, your money. Diversify, I mean now, not only by a different asset classes, it's in different, I would say, sectors as well. It's geographically, and it's also new upcoming investments. So we have heard before from all the ladies speaking about AI. AI is coming. It's very quick also in the investment side. We see those kind of investments in the traditional side, in the share classes, but we do see that also in private equity. We see this, and we need to adapt. So we need to adapt quickly. And then also something which I think is very important, to have a long-term wealth and have success in keeping the wealth, is also to adapt your, I would say, generational view on the wealth. So we have heard there is the first generation, second generation, the third. Eventually, they have different thought on wealth, and it's important that throughout a government structure that they are aligning their thoughts on how to invest. And that's also something which obviously we in the financial industry are focusing on, and we do have our services there as well. And I think the most important thing I would say is to have a trusted advisor within your financials. Because, I mean, there are so many professionals around, but you as an individual and as a family, you need to really have a trust into your advisor. And he will then also invest with you. He will know your goals as a family, and he will take care. And it's also taking care of what actually the family and the individual family members' goals are. And I think that's, I would say, from my point of view, the principles of a successful wealth.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you so much. If we go back to Brigitte. Brigitte, you are again at the forefront with family offices, and obviously many family offices are looking for those key disruptive factors that change wealth and to invest. In your view, what are now the interesting asset class or trends or investment stories that might be, right now worth to consider from a perspective of a family owner of a wealth?
So I think that's very interesting. As I look in front of me, I see the next generation of female founders. So hopefully everyone sitting in this room is actually looking at building their own, family office or wealth management, and understanding that wealth sits very differently today for women than it did for the last 1,000 years. So when people ask for me what sector does well, I don't look at sectors in the same way. I look at the moment, who holds the capital. We're at this moment in time looking at the biggest shift of wealth and the transfer of funds ever. And for the first time in history, a lot of the people inheriting or dealing with wealth are women. And so it's an interesting shift to understand that we need to prepare, all women need to prepare ourselves for looking at that from a non-generational perspective and what that means to us by building our legacy. And what is legacy to you? What does that mean for everybody? I think the other thing is looking at sectors, if you're looking at from the changes that get funded, it's not what gets funded, it's how it gets funded and what is the meaning behind it, like we said. What is the meaning behind what you're funding? As a family, intergenerational, what does it mean for your family? Social responsibility, whether it's from a family's perspective or the business. A lot of wealth is built from that. And what does it mean, again, as we said in real estate, it is your home, or if it's your money, what is it doing for you? It doesn't help that it sits there and it's actually, you have nothing to do with it. It's just monetizing itself to do nothing. So you're not actually giving back. And I think that's the new focus that people should look at, especially with the new inheritors of wealth. I think infrastructure beneath artificial intelligence. People are all about AI. Great, that's brilliant. I always say, there's one thing people said to me in the beginning when it all started, and everybody's like, don't talk about AI. Don't. The audience are gonna leave because nobody wants to know about AI. Jobs are gonna go. One tip I can give you about AI, whether you hate it or love it, it is here to stay. It is like the internet. When the internet came in, oh dear God, everybody run. The internet won't last, it will go away, nobody's gonna send an email, nobody's gonna answer anything on a weekend. That's all changed, everything has shifted. So understand whether you like it or not, AI is here to stay. So in a sector's perspective, the advice I can give is, don't let AI master you, you master it. Do whatever you can to at least understand what it means when it shifts, but also understand AI as a sector in not the AI itself, but what is generating it. Whether that is energy, which is a really important sector. Think about funding. People always speak about stocks and shares and bonds. There's a lot of things that you can do, or wealth, what you buy, property. Look at what will, fuel the things that are coming into the sectors. So AI is one, but you know what it takes to actually run the servers that create the data that you're receiving? It's a massive amount of power. So look at energy sector and the energy capital that is out there, even in small doses. So that's for me, a big thing. I think that's the second part. So the first part is managing the wealth that you have, looking at different sectors, and not the sector itself, but what's behind the sector. And I think the third for me is longevity and health span. Not adding years. That's great, but that was 50 years ago. Because we're already there. We're already not passing away when we're 40 or 50. We're already, living longer, it is your quality of life. How much you can do, how well do you think, how is your cognitive and your health at 80? Can you consistently last through meetings? And if there's an old saying, and it is true, when you retire, normally when people stop working, it's very short term, because then they pass away. So people keep on working, don't stop, even if it's small, even if it's philanthropy. Always give back, because that cognitive, your brain keeps working in a positive way. Because if you stand still, your body will inevitably also stand still. And that's what people need to understand. So keep your interest really, really on as long as you can. So I think investing in those sectors about what will make you have a better life for longer, I think is really important. And I think the last one is what nobody speaks about as well, and we touched on it a little bit, but the female-founded economy. it is a whole sector now. It is not one thing, oh, it's a female business or female. No, there's a whole thing. People hire teams of people. It's social media. It is real estate. It is development. It is construction. It is now in ministers. It's voting. It's power. The power shift is immense at the moment. And I cannot be prouder to be a woman at this time in my life. Because the amazing things I see, and it's everybody that is standing next to you, and it's the army of people that you have taken with you and who have taken you with them that will thrust you into the future. But I could not be better. So I think the female-founded economy and what that creates, and uniquely, and the last thing I would say is the one thing that you can take is remain who you are. Do not shift. Being who you are and being clear and very straightforward about your personality is everything that will thrust you forward in the future.
Thank you. Cheers to the woman changemakers economy. Well done. I love that. Valentina, would you share as well, from your perspective, if there are any, like trends, sectors worth considering at the moment from an investment standpoint?
Absolutely, with pleasure. So first of all, in my opinion, the most compelling opportunities now are at the intersection of structural change and patient capital. And patient capital is the kind of capital the family offices are uniquely positioned to deploy. So that is the main point that I want to highlight. In terms of opportunities, that is a very wide question for me, because at Wimmer Family Office, we look at many, many different sectors. So first of all, ETFs. The liquid strategy is quite relevant for us, especially in the volatility that we are assisting nowadays. CTAs, of course, it is another, I would say, sector that we are quite focused on. But most of our focus is real estate. And it's quite interesting to listen to your perspective as well, because we are very, very committed in looking at places where we are assisting at urban regeneration and tourism growth. So hospitality, reconverting, restructuring, and logistics, senior living. The living and the hospitality sectors are the main ones that we are looking at across the UK, Europe. We look at a few opportunities in the US as well. And as women, we really have an holistic lens for places like this, how we want to change this place, how we want to make these places better. Because at the end of the day, real estate is not just a transaction. It's just making that place, that community, feeling better in this world. Secondly, we look at mining and energy sectors across the globe. And it's absolutely important and relevant to highlight that we don't have to find mining opportunities in Africa or in Australia only, just to give an example. But we have a new rule in the EU. There's a report where every European country can offer great opportunities in the mining sector, and I invite all of you to read this report. It's very, very important, especially for family office based in Europe, I think. And then I would like to highlight my I would say, favorite sector. So we look at private equity late-stage companies in our family office. And we mainly look at space economy, healthcare, and tech. So space economy is my favorite, and this is just because our CEO is a passionate astronaut. So he flew up to space with a Virgin Galactic ticket because space economy is his main passion. And I would like to mention an example in the space economy industry. I wasn't expecting to work an amazing opportunity a couple of years ago. And it's a space tech company based in Colorado. The company name is Voyager Technologies. Voyager is building up the new space station called Starlab. So it's going to replace the International Space Station, the one that all of you all know very well. That was a great adventure because if you think about this as a company founded in 2019, which IPO'd in June 2025. And I'm very proud of this accomplishment because we look at many opportunities in the space economy sector. We know that until 2 years ago, the space economy was considered very risky. Everyone was quite reluctant in investing, especially family office and ultra high net worth individuals. But now with the SpaceX IPO, space economy is growing up, and it's absolutely incredible. And we see the women, astronaut women, that are leading the shift in the space economy industry. So just I'm proud of our Samantha Cristoforetti. She's my inspiration in the current world of women leaders. But yes, it's a space economy, AI. We look at AI opportunities, but in a very selective way. Especially in the robotics industry, we're very interested in that specific segment. And yes, I think it's just in a nutshell what we're looking at in our family office. So it's not.
Thank you, Valentina. And we all want, to take our ticket for the space, Maybe with the TV, but I don't know. We will see.
We can help.
Thank you so much. Ramona, we are seeing on the panel, seeing more and more women becoming founders, CEOs, and big success stories. Right now, there are many of them looking at what's next. How can they preserve what they are building, and how they can position themselves for the next generation? From your perspective as an expert in legacy and transmission, what are some of the key takeaways and points and highlights that they should consider?
Thank you, Jonathan. So first of all, when I deal with female entrepreneurs, they are fantastic at coming up with ideas. And most of the time, it's very impulsive. And I love it. I get most of ideas, and they're impulsive too. But I think the most important thing is to surround yourself with your army, as Brigitte was mentioning. So the army of practitioners that you trust and will help you set the structures right. Because having a good business idea without a good structure can really break the business. So it is very important to structure from the beginning the correct way. And my advice is surround by very good practitioners that have a network. Nowadays, it's very difficult to go only to one lawyer or one business consultant, because most of the work we deal with is cross-border. So it's useless people coming to me to set up a business in Malta, and I tell them, yes, it works, and it stops there. We would need to make sure that it works in the other countries where there is an impact. So it's very important to go to lawyers. So I have a very good network of lawyers themselves to make sure that the project works in the country and in the other countries. So structuring is very important. What type of vehicles do we use? Do we use companies, partnerships? And one common mistake. It's not one size fits all. So I do have clients coming to us, because my friend is doing this, so it must work because it's a success. Or AI. Harvey is the new AI for lawyers. Harvey told me to do so. Sometimes it works, but you have to see it holistically. So it's not one size fits all. And I do see clients falling into this trap because the others did it. We have to do it as well. So when I say structure properly, what do you need to take into consideration? Tax is important, as I said, but it's not everything. Segregation of assets. So how important it is to segregate assets. Many people are in the creative industry. They have intellectual property rights. How important is it to segregate the intellectual property rights from the real business, to protect the asset and separate the operations from the actual asset? It's a very important consideration to do. We live in a global world where people move from one place to another. How important is it that when the entrepreneurs move, they have to take into consideration not just how will the tax affect when I receive the dividends, but also, do I need to do anything from a succession law point of view? So people coming, for example, from the US or the UK, they have no concept of what in the continent we have of the reserved portion when it comes to succession. So people fall into this trap. They have no idea that in Europe, for example, we have a reserved portion for succession that dictates that the spouse and the children have to receive X amount. So it is very, very important to ask these questions. Matrimonial regimes, again, in UK, in the US, there's no concept of matrimonial regimes. They're used to doing prenups, for example. In Malta, as in most of continental Europe, we have preset matrimonial regimes that when you get married, immediately you are sharing the community of equus. So how important it is to keep these things in mind, that sometimes we just move, we look at the climate, sometimes we look at schools for the children, but we don't think about what if my marriage breaks down, what if succession. So these are important things to keep in mind. From a structuring point of view, and for succession, moving wealth from one generation to the next, there are many vehicles to use. So wills are important, but most of families, they have either a foundation or a trust. How important it is to use the trust or foundation that suits your needs. So it's very important to see what's on the market and which foundation or trust suits you. For example, in Malta, we have a foundation structure which some of our clients use. And what makes the foundation structure in Malta unique is that you can have segregated cells. Sometimes I have women coming from multiple marriages coming to me and they say, I need to diversify between my children. They have to get different assets depending on whether, for example, I have children from the first marriage, children from the second marriage. So how can I cater for the different children? Maybe there are children that I don't want them to participate in the business. So how to do this, how to segregate this. Maybe they don't want to have the in-laws involved in the business. How to make sure that this actually happens. So there are lots of things, but I think one point of advice is that you can structure and plan as much as you can, but one point that I always said to my clients is don't control from the grave. So I have clients that set up trusts and foundations. They think that they are going to live forever and they want to impose conditions even when they leave this world, which creates lots of problems for the next generation. So yes, protect your legacy, what you've created. Yes, preserve it for the next generation, but you need to leave them breathing space. So it's very, very important because this is a common mistake. More in men rather than women, but it's a common mistake that they think that they can control beyond the grave. So that is my advice.
Thank you, Ramona. Thank you. And this is an essential point. We are here with a limited lifespan, and we can make the best out of it, especially if we think of others and the next generation. That's the noble way to look at it. Thank you so much, Ramona, for sharing that perspective. To go back to Dr. Salwa. Salwa, we would like you to share a little bit about your perception of the dynamics that are shaping and changing, like the trends in real estate. We mentioned, AI, we mentioned, like people that are digital nomad, people that are traveling, people that are looking for sustainability. What are, in your view, the main aspects that we have to consider when looking at doing, a real estate investment?
Okay, I will emphasize especially post-COVID. The aspects and perspectives of people, investors, developer has been changed. We are moving more to sustainability, sustainable properties. We are moving more to wellness and longevity properties. That is what the division now is going a bit blind in this. People looks more about a healthy community, how far we're going with healthy communities. as Valentina has been emphasized, I have been involved since 3 years now with telemedicines and property which we use longevity and medications. Like while constructing the whole developments, we are already installizing something related to telemedicines and longevity with like robotics, avatars that will control your health. You will get your blood pressure, your diabetes. You will receive in e-medicines, e-pharmacy. In Dubai, we are in this level where we're lots integrated in a lot of sustainability, and people are looking for more wellness. They're not looking for just a property. They're looking for a lifestyle. Because I have so many women in my program where they don't work. So if I'm a mother, forget about I'm a working mother. If I'm a mother and I'm looking for a space to live, I look for a safer place for my kids, a place where I have a very good, healthy environment, a community, that's very important. It's facility, amenities, it's not just a building, that's it. So people look more now for a lifestyle aspects, yes, using AI and technology, but more into more natural, more greenery, more space for people to breathe. Lots of yoga centers and Pilates and this trend nowadays everywhere, matcha Pilates, aloe, everywhere you find this. So I'm more into, yes, wellness is very important. You invest in your health, not only on your return on investment as money. Invest in your kids, invest in their future, invest on something that will give you equity more than return on investments. Because end of the day, smart investors will care about that, but if we have developers here in the room, they would understand me. We're looking for people who will make the difference. Why should I buy this property? What makes this property different from other property? Not the price, not the appreciation, it will look further. So why should I buy this property as an investor? Who will rent this property for me, and why he will rent my property specifically? What is the difference? So that will create a huge hype away from numbers and statics. So I believe what's going on here, especially why people are relocating as well. I've talked about Dubai specialists. Except, as she said, tax is not everything, yes, but tax-free. Dubai zero tax. People doesn't pay tax on their property income. No capital gain, no income tax, zero tax. So that's why people are relocating. Even education is important. For me, I need to educate my customer. I don't know when to buy blindly. They need to educate themselves. They need to know the trends, the preferences, the law. Very important to know the law and regulation of the country. So it's not zero tax only. Zero tax is for the property. But as a company owner, you pay corporate tax, which is 9%. So this is what people understand from the marketing, advertising. Oh, zero tax, I'll move. No, there are a lot of things you need to understand. As she said, it's very important. Yes. Preversion, not everything, implementations, process, government, but there is a lot of benefit. Why? End of the day, you're looking for environment. You know, money, investments love a good platforms. They love a good bed where they sleep, right? The same. Money is the same thing. This is what we need. As a female entrepreneurs, and what I push for women is to educate themselves before going for investment. Invest in yourself. Educate yourself so when you go to the room and discuss about numbers, leadership doesn't differentiate male or female. What differentiates is your knowledge and expertise. So if you master your meetings, nobody can say, oh, she's a woman. Nowadays, we're seeing a lot of Gen Zs in Europe. They are really smart. They are really away from what we've been doing all our life. This new generation are very dangerous. They're very smart. So we are really, the 80s and 90s were suffering. Like the new gens are killing us. And if I think there's a lot of young here generations, I push them forward to learn, because AI, as Brigitte said, will never ever replace us. The one who uses AI will replace the one who does not use AI. So you need to update yourself, you need to learn, find a mentor. The real enemy of women, unfortunately, is another woman. So find a good mentor, empower each other, champion each other. That is where we can create good communities. When we empower each other, the community will rise and we can create better space, whether in US, UK, Malta, wherever. It's all about finding the right space and the right people and just go for it. The right moment sometimes doesn't wait. Don't wait until you're completely ready. Just go for it. Start small, dream big, and life is easy.
Thank you. Thank you, Salwa. Juliet, we would love to hear you on your perspective and your experimentation of the new dynamics in philanthropy. What do you see happening? And what are maybe some of the recommendations you could formulate in that field to support it?
Well, I think for me, if we think about the trends that have been happening, the biggest trend is really reflective of what the panel's really touched on already. The more women have access to capital, and they view it very differently. If you're going to forgive me, I'm going to read off some statistics because I just think they're quite important. I can't remember them all. 87% of women agree that money is a tool that can be used, should be used, to help fulfill their purpose. 82% of women feel the events they've been to over the last few years have made them realise what's important to them. 72% of women feel the events over the last few years have made them want to make a difference to the world around them. Younger women are expected to receive $47 trillion of wealth that is transferred intergenerationally. Between 2016 to 2023, there's been a 60% increase in clients who prefer to receive holistic advice. If you need some samples, you have Melinda Gates, divorced wife of Bill Gates, who's been carving out her own ventures through Pivotal Ventures. And she has already dedicated $12 billion to women empowerment. Or Mackenzie Scott, who's a divorced woman, wife of Jeff Bezos, who's garnered media attention for the $19 billion to thousands of nonprofits in just a few years through yield giving. Or Lauren Powell Jobs, widow of Stephen Jobs, who's quietly been building her own philanthropic ventures, Emerson Collective, for more than a decade. It's a company that invests in entrepreneurs and innovators driven by a purpose and a sense of possibility. I think if you see these women, they've got a broader view of their wealth. They want to look at how their investments, philanthropy, business and influence can work together. Women are focusing much more in the philanthropy world on more active engagement. They want to be really active and proactive about who they talk to. They are listening. They are sitting there. They are paying attention. They are learning from peers who are already doing it, not trying to do it on their own. And they are trusting of others. Trusted-based philanthropy is a big thing that's going on at the moment. They're listening to people on the ground and they're trusting them that they know what they need, they know what they want, and they can help bring things together. They are better at men at not taking their ego to the table. I think I'm going to give you a couple of case studies of women who have really followed that practice. At the moment, I'm working for an organization called Synergos, which comes from the Greek definition of working together. It was set up by Peggy Delaney, who's a great-granddaughter of J.D. Rockefeller. Peggy spent some of her youth working in the favelas in Brazil, and she really saw the inequalities. So she put Synergos together, bringing funders, fundraisers, NGOs, governments, institutions, people on the ground together to address a specific of the global world's complex challenges that they're facing and how can they work together as a team. And within that, she's built the Global Philanthropist Circle, which is a group of members, which is basically a family of members. They call it members in a community, but it's a family of philanthropists around the world who are already philanthropists. They know what they're doing, but it's building a community between them so they can learn from each other. And as a case study, there's a member of ours called Irene Pritzker, who was amazing. And she really followed the words of advice I gave before about listening and learning and collaboration. She visited Ghana and she went to a low-fee paying school, and she was absolutely thrown by what she was seeing. Young children working on earthenware floors, the buildings falling apart, there's no material, there's no pencils, there's no pens, there's no light. And she really wanted to make a difference. But she followed what I said before. She started by exploring and learning from others, really talking to people on the ground, local listening. She didn't arrive with a solution. She listened and she learned. She was happy to challenge conventional wisdom. People thought, we can't fund low-fee paying schools, it's too much of risk. And she was like, I'm going to make a change, I'm going to make a difference. And collaboration, she worked in partnership to make things happen. And it is just being patient. Meaningful change can take years. It does not happen by next week or next year or in a couple of years. It takes time. And I highly recommend, she's written a book, which I read back-to-back last weekend, Saturday to Sunday, in the school, in the market. Honestly, it's really engaging. And to me, what's important about it is that she's sharing her learning with other philanthropists. A lot of philanthropists do still work in silos, and really that's the whole point of the community I work in and the point of her book. Talk, learn, share. It is the only way difference is going to get made.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juliet.
As we have already lived 1 hour of full inspiration, I will just ask, one last question. If you had a message to Claudia and to each of you, dear panelists, a message to share with women that are aspiring to go and join the finance or philanthropy or family offices or impact sectors in a respective field, what will be your message and what will be the key word related to your inspiration that you have that you would like to share? Claudia.
Thank you for the question, Jonathan. So I think what is my aspiration and what I would like to share why I in this sector is because I love to be with people. I love to understand their needs, obviously, in my sector, the financial needs. And if a female or women would like to work in the financial sector, she needs, from my perspective, to have an empathy towards the clients, using her emotional intelligence to come up with tailor-made solutions for the clients, involving a holistic advice, which includes the whole life of a client. And it's also something where I would say we female have, I would say a donation to is that we have a great ability to network together. And I think this is also something which somebody who would like to work in the financial sector should use the network and to bring more business to the table and to the client at the end.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you very much. Juliet, your words on that.
Well, I think for me, just to focus, what draws my inspiration is when people recognize they can make change and how they do it, and they do it in such different ways. I mean, for me, over the last 3 years, I've met a lot of inheritors of wealth, and I've seen the challenges that they've been through, but also so much respect for them because they are really sitting and learning how to navigate the wealth that they're inheriting and able to find their own feet and use their resources in a way that aligns with their values. But then you've got my mum, who does not have that much money, but she volunteers at a local hospice. Once a week, she takes tea around the hospice, and a lot of people are really poorly. It's a hospice, of course, but she does it. And I'm a big fan of everybody recognizing everybody has resources. To me, philanthropy is the Greek definition. It's the love of humanity. You don't need to be Bill Gates. Helping somebody across the road is a philanthropic gesture, and just be positive to the world around you. Everybody can make a difference. It just needs a little bit of effort, and it doesn't need to charge anything. It doesn't need to cost you anything, but just be kind to the people around you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Brigitte, same question.
Oh no. It's hard to follow this panel, my goodness. I think for me, what I see today and what we leave is we see a lot of abundance. The abundance in technology, abundance in immediate gratification by delivery vehicles, for instance. So there's no value in waiting or achieving or the long-term goal because it's immediate, so you get bored of it very quickly. And a lot of people hear abundance and they think growth. Sometimes abundance, what happens is it becomes big and it loses its value. What you need to become is exclusive. Know who you are and know your worth. And always in the back of your mind, because they're asking themselves that when they are in the room with you, is, but ask yourself, don't undervalue who you are, because that's the worst thing you can do. Don't commercialize yourself to fit the narrative. You are unique. Every single one of you has a purpose and a skill set that no one else has. Don't go with the flow. Find your own path. Understand what makes you special to everybody else. And that'll be what sells you in the room. And then have in your mind at the back, and I have a really good advisor who's been my advisor for 32 years. And my biggest cheerleader, which is my husband who's sitting, I won't point him out, but he always says to me, don't undervalue. So what's in it for me? Because that's what they're doing. So always understand what you're willing to give up. But I think the biggest thing for me is being in those rooms today that didn't have these wonderful faces that I see in front of me. But again, being in the rooms, choose your rooms well. Don't go to everything. Be exclusive. Understand who you're speaking to, because a lot of you will find in your past or what you've been doing or what you've been building, you'll go, oh, but they said they'll get back to me. Oh, but they'll do this. And I can tell you now why that's happening. You're in the wrong room. You do not have to be with everything. Rather build, like I said, your army. Build the people around you that are going to matter, that are going to push you, and be in the right rooms that want to hear what you say. Because as soon as you say something or mention money or mention wealth, and they are immediately out there, it's better that you know in the beginning than you put in any kind of effort 6 months later and they say, well, I can't afford you, or actually that was nothing that I was interested in, because that's not what you're building. So understanding where you are and understanding what you're building is the most important thing that you can do, and then align yourself to the people who are going to help you achieve that. And be genuine. When you have a relationship, don't first make it about business. It will become about building you. Because if your relationships are genuine, it will be natural to say, hey, go to Ramona because you need to speak to her because she knows what she's doing, or go to Claudia, or go to anybody in this room because you know what they're trying to achieve. And your alignment is there, and you can trust that, because you don't trust the company, you trust the person. Trust is a valuable commodity. Do not lose it, because once it's gone, you can never replace it. And so I am very grateful to be in this room with all of you. Thank you very much, Jonathan. I'm looking forward to the rest of today. And thank you for everybody on this panel. You have been fantastic. And that's all I need to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, when I first met you, I knew that we were aligned. What I didn't know that I'm going to sit next to you in the panel, and you're going to take all my points and ideas.
I'm sorry. No, sorry, not sorry.
So it's very difficult now to go. Okay. So I think if I had to take some key points, first of all, it's never the right time, right? So don't wait for the right time. If you have an idea, just pursue it, just go for it. And focus on what you're good at. So I do this at the office a lot. I recruit in terms of soft skills more than anything else, and I always try to see what is the natural talent of the person and push the natural talent rather what pushes them down. So believe in yourselves, in your talent, and focus on that. We're all unique, as Brigitte was saying. And the second point I wanted to mention is the surrounding of yourself with the army around you. Very, very important to choose your advisors, to choose the people that are there for you all the way. I think that's the most important thing. And something that Brigitte didn't mention is structuring. I cannot emphasize enough the structuring, how important it is to structure. Coming from a tax lawyer, every movement that there is, any change in the structure, any change in the business would attract tax. And sometimes people come to me when it is too late. It would be very difficult to do. I don't have a magic wand. I wish I had. It's very difficult then to get the tax efficient structures at the very end. So very, very important to think ahead, to plan ahead. We can't plan everything because people move, things change, but it's very, very important to have the structures that can adapt, like water, you know? So I think those were the 3 points I wanted to mention.
Thank you.
See, you
Thank
did
so
find
much.
something.
Salwa, what are your main, message, for the women
Okay.
listening to us?
It's gonna be very powerful. When I was young, I just want to quickly understand that I need you to teach this to your daughters. When we were young, boys are allowed, girls are not allowed. We've been segregated in this position. Because you're a girl, you're not allowed. Teach your girls to dream. Never ever limit their dreams. Let them go for audacity. Teach them to understand that financial independence will let them be free. It's not about money, it's about choice and dignity. When the girl is financially independent on a young age, she will have a standard. Even while choosing her partner, she will not choose him for money. It will be the last thing she will look for is money. She will have her own standard. She's complete, she's financially independent. And as she said, many women talented, they're waiting for the perfect time. I think growth works with action, not with perfections. So if you don't find your room, create your own room. No table, create your own table. And that's what I was always thinking when my daughter asked me, Mom, did you give up on your dreams because of me? I would say, no, baby. I was holding your hands and walking to pursue my dreams while you grew up freely, thinking how you're going to see me as your role model. That's what we need to teach our new generation, especially our daughters, that men and women are here to compare. We have a compassion. We're not here to compete. Women need to look for justice. I don't care about equality. I don't want to be equal to men. Man is man, woman is woman. Why should I seek for equality? Why should I seek to be a man? I want to be a girl. I want to be a woman, receive flowers, receive chocolates. I want to be treated nicely. So I'm seeking for justice. Justice for leadership position, for salaries. For that time, I wouldn't want to be segregated. I don't want to be equal to men. So we need to think, especially in Europe and US, okay, I'm Arabic and I'm happy that I'm the only Arab here. I'm Tunisian originally, but I live in Dubai, and that mixed culture teach me the tolerance. We need to be tolerant with each other. Whoever we are women. We deal as humans. That's very, very important to take out everything. We're just humans. You're good to me, I'm good to you. You mentor me, choose a good room where there's a lot of mentors. Thank you, Jonathan, for this, because I think there's a big, nice energy here in this room. Network, collaborate, everything happened for a reason. So you are in this room for a reason. Never, ever ignore a sign. You meet everybody for a reason. I meet every one of you for a reason, and I'm so happy for the coming collaboration that's going to happen. That's what we need to grow. Thank you, Brigitte. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So grateful that you made the trip and the power, from UAE to Malta and to the world. Thank you, Salwa.
I have a very challenging role now.
Yes.
I am the last
Valentina,
one.
you have to conclude, indeed, your words and your thoughts.
I'm going to tell Per when I see him that you're going to go to space now.
I would like to. Well, first of all, Jonathan, thank you very much. I feel very, very, very lucky today of being part of this such amazing audience. And listening to all the women here is absolutely incredible. So,
Thank you.
this is my first note. Second note, I'm very happy to see that in the current scenario, women are stepping into roles such as finance, family offices, investments. This is very encouraging because it was unthinkable until 20 years ago. So we are making a lot of progress, and it's great. My advice is very simple. I would have a long list, but I don't want to bore you. But I would say, first of all, the most important thing is get out of your comfort zone. So and take risks. I think taking risks is the best thing that you should be able to do, and you won't regret it. So, secondly, invest in yourself, as she mentioned before, and she's a great example of that. Invest in yourself and in your skills, as yourself would be like a portfolio. It's like you should invest in your capital. So you are a capital. You are an asset for this world. And thirdly, my quote is "per aspera ad astra." So we are living in a challenging world, challenging societies. We have to stay anchored on what we are. So our identity is the main asset that we have to take care of. We have to keep our identity. We have to, yes, we have to, in a certain sense, being trustful in what we have built. So thanks for Jonathan for this opportunity. And thank you all of you.
Thank you, Valentina. Thank you, everyone. Under your applause, we're going to take the picture of the group, so you are welcome to stand up, and we call the photographer for doing a beautiful picture of those women changemakers, and then we're going to listen to Kyra Lüthi video. We're going to have now Kyra Lüthi video. Kyra is a great supporter of the CGF Women's Summit. So Kyra, the floor is yours through video. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Kyra Lüthi. I'm Global Director for Lüthi Group, a single family office based in Geneva, Switzerland. Unfortunately, I will not be able to join you physically in Malta for this wonderful event, but I would like to express my gratitude to Jonathan and his team for organizing this very important Women's Summit. And I would like to also thank all the ones who are attending and all the women leaders who are sharing their stories and inspiring advocacies in this event today.
What qualities are most important for leaders seeking to create sustainable value across borders and generations?
The qualities that leaders should be able to possess to navigate across borders and regions is number one, the conviction without rigidity. This is the ability to hold a strong point of view about where the world is going and to act on it before any regulations or consensus catches up, while also remaining being very open to change and being agile to adjusting to market cycles and market trends. Another factor that a leader should possess is patience. In Lüthi Group, we navigate a lot of regulations and regulatory frameworks across regions and across borders, and that takes a lot of patience, and patience builds trust as well with our clients and our community and our investors. So the most important thing for long-term value creation is patience and understanding how to navigate the cultures and regions with the agility that a leader possesses, and the conviction as well on how to upscale the business itself, and again, patience that builds trust.
How do you see the role of family offices evolving in shaping investment, innovation, and long-term economic development?
For decades, family offices have operated just in the background, and they were only quiet stewards of multi-generational wealth. They're conservative, very relationship-driven, but during these times, we are seeing an entire shift in the industry wherein family offices now are asking the question, what kind of investments are they going to make a better impact to the world and in the society? Generically speaking, the next generation of family office principals are digital natives. So they are more leaning towards digital investments, the new type of alternative investments as well. At Lüthi Group, this is exactly where we sit at this intersection. We operate as a family office, intersecting capital and also digital solutions towards other family offices. What I find most exciting about this dimension is, as I said, the next generation of family office principals are very much digital natives, and with that, the investment industry also works toward that market trend wherein the digital industry is benefiting from family office capital, which enables and empowers new startups and new investment formats when it comes to boosting the digital economy itself.
How important are trusted relationships in creating successful business and investment outcomes?
Trust is everything. In our world, trust relies on confidentiality, discretion, and also loyalty. In every successful partnership and in every successful transaction, someone trusted someone first. And this has always been the pattern in my entire experience in moving in the ultra high net worth individual space. And with trust, it is an approach that takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of investment, but the outcomes that it produces are in a completely different category.
Where do you personally draw your inspiration and what continues to motivate your journey today?
The number one thing is really ambition. Second is humility. And third is surround yourself with good people that support you and also share the same level of ambition and humility with you, so you both inspire each other.
What message or advice would you most like to leave with women aspiring to leadership roles in international business, investment, or entrepreneurship?
This is the most amazing but most difficult question that I always get, because being a woman leader is not something small and it's not something very easy. Ever since I started my career, the number one thing that is always being judged about me is because I'm a woman. You are judged of how you look, what you're wearing, and every single detail about you, even though you perform your best. And that's just the reality of being a woman, and it's very difficult to understand that reality. But this is why I'm very thankful for having these kinds of women's summit, because it brings together women leaders and we share these kinds of experiences with one another, because we have to keep uplifting each other. We have to keep supporting each other, because we're the only ones who will be able to actually change the society on how women leaders are being seen and are being looked at by the industry itself. With that being said, you will always be judged, so perform anyway. Never let all these judgments get to you, and never let them underestimate you or overestimate you. You are who you are, and you are confident in yourself. As long as you know the value that you bring, your confidence, your conviction, and you stand your ground and your value, you will be able to be the leader that you want to be. It doesn't matter how they look at you, but what matters the most is how you look at yourself and how you want to be the leader that other women want to be.
Thank you so much, Kyra. We know you're watching, and we are looking forward to seeing you, like very soon, and building great things with you and your team. Now, we go for the panel 2 of the session 1, and now it's the entrepreneurship, like perspective. So I call on stage, under your applause, Dana Carmont. Dana, welcome. Aurelia Ferreira, Aurelia. Giannella Barbieri, Mariam C, Renata, and Nadia Pets. Welcome. To your pictures. Yes, you can sit here. Good. I will look at one yes, yes. Sit here.
Thank you, darling.
Very good. Yes. Very nice. Let's get started. Thank you so much, everyone. Are we ready for a new panel? Yes. Okay, very good. First of all, Dana, you made already your first exit. You created your company, you sold it, and then you decided, to build a social enterprise and to do amazing things. By the way, you will share as well at the end of the panel an opportunity for tomorrow to join as well your gallery with the artists that you are chairing. So first of all, what is the inspiration that is driving you?
Hello, everyone. I am actually the president and founder of Empower Her voluntary organization here in Malta, and I start with that because I used to call myself a serial entrepreneur, but now I call myself a social entrepreneur, where I used to turn my passions into small businesses, and now I turn my passions into social enterprises and projects to help women here in Malta in business and in shelters. I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 17 and haven't worked for anyone else since then, and I'm now 52. So I've really enjoyed, thank you, I've enjoyed my entrepreneurial journey over all these years, and it just dawned upon me, I think it's about 2 years ago now when we launched Empower Her, that women need a platform to be able to be inspired, empowered, and to connect. And with the voluntary organisation, I decided that one of the first things I would do is to help women build their entrepreneurial journey. So the structure of me having my own businesses since the age of 17 has gotten me this far today of learning everything I needed to know by experience, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, making money, losing money, selling businesses, still stagnant with businesses. It has taught me everything that I've needed to know to be able to get where I am today. So, in a nutshell, I really enjoy and I really am inspired by women who like to take the role and be independent and to be able to build their own self-independence for their own future. And now, sorry, my Aussie accent's going to come out. I'm going to call you Yo Nathan. I am very pleased to be here today, and I'm very honoured to be here today because a platform is needed for women to be able to meet women from all around the world. We always have our own communities in our own spaces back home, but to be able to meet other women on a global aspect is really important, to be able to go beyond belief of where you're actually wanting to go with your businesses, or just in general meeting other communities. And communities are very, very, very important. And tomorrow, and I'm going to say this now because I know I'm going to forget, tomorrow, which I'll talk about a bit later on about the social enterprise that I had started here in Malta, it's called Designers Boutique, and at between 10 and 12 tomorrow, we're going to hold celebrational drinks for the women here today to keep the vibe going and the energy going. So I'd love you to come down. So please come by and speak to me later, and I can give you the actual address. But my entrepreneurial journey has got me here today to be able to help other women in business.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. Aurelia, you are building, a project and a company in one of the most traditional and conservative industry, which is real estate. You want to bring sustainability and impact here in Malta and to the world, but we would like to know where is coming this inspiration.
Okay, so I am an entrepreneur since I'm 20 years old, like you. And I remember the first time I was working at 19 or 18 years old at university. I thought I had a problem. I was working at something called Quick in France, but it's more like McDonald's, basically. And I thought I had a problem, and I realized very fast that I was not made to work for someone, but I was more an entrepreneur. So I started my journey without having a master plan. I studied real estate. I was at university thinking that I was not good for this. But my teachers were believing in me. And I started to be business partner with my father in real estate and take over the business. I didn't have really a master plan, but with the years, I realized that was what I was loving is all the challenges and the difficulties and going and working on the unknown and growth. And when we sold our company in 2007, I decided to open a real estate agency in Dominican Republic. I wanted to give my knowledge to people, to a country where it was a mess. So I built a real estate agency there for 5 years, and so on. So from all my career in real estate, where starting by real estate agency on construction. Now I end up in construction. I did all the job of real estate, basically, and where I'm going to a new project, which is on property development. So what motivates me is really, and give me all the energy, is all the growth and learning and not knowing. So the same when I went in construction, I didn't know nothing about construction. I got an opportunity and I said, I will figure out the how. I was selling a building that I was refurbishing, and the client told me, do you want to refurbish Libyan school? And I said, yes. I had no idea how, but I set up the construction company, I signed the contracts, and from there I went to Intercontinental, some rooms in Phoenicia, now I'm at Inyala, and so on. I signed more and more big contracts on hospitality.
Thank you, Aurelia. Thank you. Giannella, it's a pleasure to have you. You are one of the Maltese entrepreneurs and, lawyers, but not only, this, you decided one day to set up your own law firm. Yes. We would like to know how does it work and how did you make it? What is your inspiration on that?
So, first of all, I'm happy to be here this year. Last year I attended the conference and I really enjoyed it, and this year I made it a point to be more involved. I'm the founder and managing partner of GB Partners, but unlike these two ladies sitting next to me, I had never planned to set up my own business. My vision was always to work with an established firm and go to traditional career paths. So I worked very, very, very hard. I am proud to say that I worked with some amazing professionals. I learned a lot along the way, and I also found myself in a leadership team in one of the big firms, surrounded by men. It was a very positive yet challenging experience. The fact that I was the only woman in the room reflected on some of the things, but at the same time I learned a lot. Going forward, then I started to realize that I had certain both personal and professional ambitions that if I wanted to reach, I could not take a step further. So I went for it. It was not easy because obviously I had worked to get to the position I was at for a very long time, and I had to start from scratch, with obviously no guarantee that you're going to get there. But then after, I worked a lot, I networked a lot, which is something which I can't stress enough, the importance of networking. And today we're an established firm, we're growing, we're doing very well. One of the things I would say is that I used to think that confidence comes by knowing everything. Along the way, as building my firm and everything, I realized that confidence is basically knowing how to take the next step even without knowing everything. So that's it.
Thank you. You made the right choice. You made the right choice.
Thank you.
Dear Mariam, you are one of the bridge between, like Africa, Côte d'Ivoire, and Switzerland and Europe. You are multi-entrepreneurs. We would like to know more about the inspiration, the engine that propel you, to be so active in that field.
So hi everyone, it's really an honor to be here surrounded by such inspiring people from around the world. I'm Mariam, the founder of Nacron Créé, a PR agency based in Geneva. So my entrepreneurial journey started from a very simple place, intuition and the desire to create. I started my first venture in the cosmetics industry in 2020. At that time, I did not have a perfect plan. I just had a vision and the need to start somewhere. And that's what I did. So I developed a natural cosmetics brand. We produced serums, body lotions, and they were sold internationally. Over time, that vision evolved, And I moved from creating products to creating positioning, visibility, and narratives. And that's what I do today. So that shift also led me to open a boutique in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. And that's where entrepreneurship became very real, because I had operations, I had financial pressure, team management, and constant challenges. And eventually, I transitioned into building my PR agency in Geneva. So today, my vision is no longer about only products or services. It's about building bridges, as you were saying, Jonathan, between markets, cultures, and opportunities by helping brands and people become visible in a meaningful way. So that's my take on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mariam. Renata, thank you for joining us from Portugal and bringing, like another, country, like to the audience. You are advising and supporting women in many aspects of personal branding, image, and talent development. And you build, a very successful company, but we would like to know more about the inspiration that drives you to be such a figure for women around you.
Yeah, first of all, I'm from Portugal, but I'm a Brazilian. So sorry about my English. I'm trying here. I started my career in financial market. And in Brazil, this market is only with men. And along the 12 years that I worked there, I have to position myself, and I understand that some things I have to change and something I have to do to be listened, to be respected with this kind of market. So this become my purpose there, and I changed my mind and I leave the financial market, and now I'm working with this. Show the women how they can be listen, they can be communication, who they are, their values, and the purpose, and the competence, and everything that they have to be, and they have to improve, to be listened. So I think when the women knows who you are and the values they have, and they identify, they can be more confident, and they can improve their career and construction personal branding like this. So I think it's something like Mariam jobs, and we work together with a lot of PR. But I think the first point is know what you are going to show the public that you want to be, and this is my job right now.
Thank you, Renata. Thank you so much. Nadia, you are one of the very strong advisor of many CEOs and people, key groups in Malta and in the regions. What have you learned about the main qualities of leadership across the journey that you are, experiencing?
You're too kind with your words, Jonathan. Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you a few years ago, and I'm very pleased to be here. The fact that we are still need to have Women's Summit and Women's Days and to celebrate of all of us being together, it still means that we still need to break some barriers and some boundaries wherever we are with whoever we've been. So it's interesting, and it's always a pleasure to be here. And living in Malta, I've always found that Malta is a very, very, very good platform for businesses to start, to have a base where they can pivot elsewhere. And that has been my lesson so far, that if I have to grow, which was my main inspiration all throughout, at a personal level, at a professional level, at a company level, I need to connect and I need to look elsewhere as well, because this is how we grow, by learning, by sharing, by learning from each other and sharing with each other. the greatest leadership lesson, Jonathan, for me, has been that it's very hard to say no to certain things, and it's very hard to actually learn to be that you're not there to please everyone. So even though we want to connect, we're not there. Not everyone is our client. Not everyone is we're aligned. We mentioned even in the other panel, you know, moral compass, values. I see Brigitte was on the panel and very, very much aligned and resonated with what she mentioned. We're not there to please everyone. We're there to be ourselves, and most of the time, even when serving on boards, the greatest decision is walking away. And sometimes you just need to stand up because you're not aligned with where the company is going, with where the decisions are being taken. And I think that is the hardest decision from a leadership perspective that one has that I had to learn, and still learning, by the way, because it's not easy just to say, I disagree and I'm leaving because I'm not aligned.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Dana, being one of the force of progress from the island is not coming without challenges. As an entrepreneur, multi-entrepreneur, you saw many things that are, like doors that are closed, and you were able, to open them. What are some of the takeaways you could share with us to encourage women to go through this cycle and be able to succeed by doing what they want to achieve?
First of all, I would just say go for it, because there is no better time than just doing it. For a lot of people that know me, and they can vouch for it, if I have an idea, I will just do it. I don't really worry about what's going to happen ahead, what's going to happen behind. I'll think of the idea and I just do it. And that comes to one of the social enterprises that we just launched a year ago here in Malta called Designers Boutique. It was actually supposed to be my own boutique. I had a very amazing experience here at the Phoenicia where I was given the opportunity to open up. I had a pop-up store with all of my swimwear. I'm actually a swimwear designer by trade. I have been for over 35 years. And I had a great opportunity to actually host a pop-up down there. And thank you to Robin Pratt, if she's here today. I don't know if she... Hello, my darling. And I was given that opportunity and I saw greatness there where I could actually venture out to expand on my collections. But when I was down at the pool, I wanted to help other entrepreneurs as well. So I asked women from my female community that I had grown over the past couple of years if they would like to come and place their wares down there as well. And it worked out very well. And then in the beginning of the year, I thought, well, this was last year, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to open up my own little boutique now. I think I'm ready for a change, to have something of my own. I found a beautiful space that I had been looking at for 9 years. I used to walk up and down it all the time. And then one morning, I saw it with it's available. And I was, oh my goodness, this is it. The manifestation has happened. So I had approached the gentleman. I had walked into the space, and straight away, he said to me, and what are you going to do here? And I said, oh, I'm actually going to turn it into a social enterprise for 16 women here in Malta. And he looked at me and he said, wow, that sounds amazing. I said, yeah, I'm going to get them all to bring down their stuff and we'll have little sections. And he said, I love that. You're empowering women. Here's the key. Didn't sign a lease, didn't do anything. He just, here's the key, the trust. Here's the key. Let me know what you want to do. And on Monday, make the decision and you can begin. Obviously, we negotiated a price, being in Valletta, but it all began there, and the social enterprise happened. So in 24 hours, I called the women who I knew from the community. They were like, wow, this is an amazing platform because it's very hard to be able to have a retail space of your own to be able to afford. And then the dream happened. We've been there for a year now, and as I say to people in general, when you give women the resources and the tools to be able to move forward, you cannot stop us. The boutique is thriving. The women are excelling. They are doing lots of product development. They get to do retail experience to the T. They are learning everything they need to know about customer service, how to run a business, how to do their bookwork, all of these things. And it's all due to sharing community space. And that is how I believe it will move forward in the very future, where we all need a platform together to be able to be a social, community, inspirational enterprise.
Thank you. Aurelia, to be able to do what you do on managing, from A to Z, a very complex project needs a lot of skills and qualities. So could you, Aurelia, yes, please share with us your vision of the leadership skills and resilience that you have been able, to acquire, and the recommendation you could, share with the audience on getting to the point of confidence on that aspect.
Yes. So I'm going to make you laugh, but construction is synonymous of problems. So it's our day-to-day. But one lesson that I learned over all those years is that buildings are built by people. And when I say that, no matter how the drawing are and the budget you have to build the buildings, at the end, the success of the project is coming of the trust that you have between all people on site. And when I say on site, is that often we do not recognize that the plumber, the worker, the helper, the cleaner on site are really part of the success of the project. And this, I learned it. Leadership is not knowing and having all the answers of all the problem. What I love on site is that when we have a problem, a challenge, is that all of us are around it and we are listening each other. So as I said, it's not about having the best skill or the best manager, the best diploma. Even the cleaner explained us how we can arrange this area faster and we have a look at it. It's having all the solution coming around it. And about resilience, it's never about facing the problem, it's how we respond to it. The first years in construction, I remember it was just before COVID, and during COVID, I was at Intercontinental and we didn't know when hotels will be open. So we have the really very, very short deadline. They were opening floors and say, okay, maybe you have 15 days to do all this work. And I remember 7 days we were working. And at that time, with the stress and the pressure, we were all shouting at each other, like destroying each other. And because so much pressure, but with the years, I learned and I became wiser. I learned to listen more and to be more calm under pressure. We work with very tight deadlines because, of course, it's commercial, so the deadlines are very short and we have to do quality job. But having everyone around and speaking with calm and all of us and focusing on the solution, not pointing finger, we don't look at the problem, we go straight to the solution. I think we learn a lot, all of us. And the last team I built now on the last project I'm doing, all the team are amazing and all the workers on site are smiling. And you cannot imagine how beautiful it is. Even a cleaner, everyone is calm and I think that's a very good success. And part of it is humility too. And yes, I think that's it.
Thank you, Aurelia, thank you. And speaking of the harmony and the calm, after the lunch, you can all be welcome, in the Zen garden for a few minutes to breathe. And we will not put any music. We will just have the musicality of the universe with birds, and everyone is welcome to join there. But to go back now to our panel, Giannella, just to understand, because you are advising, of course, many entrepreneurs. You are seeing many situations, the good and the challenging ones. You see as well, some mistakes that are made. Yes. What are, in your view, the key foundations, actions that any entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs, should consider at the very beginning?
So we mentioned here the term go for it. Yes, go for it. But ultimately, a business should start step by step. So my biggest advice here is, even if your idea is brilliant, you take everything step by step, because the second if you start everything together, you might have problems down Another thing that I need to stress on, and I mentioned it before, is networking. I can't say how important networking is. Marketing is important, branding is important, but what will build your business up is networking. You need to promote yourself and the people within the business, because ultimately clients choose you if they trust you. And I know this was already mentioned in the previous panel. Another important thing is to choose the professionals that will guide you in setting up your business. So today I noticed, and this is something I've been getting a lot, we have a number of tools nowadays, and we're lucky. We have AI, we have ChatGPT, we have every system under the stars that can tell you how to do it and what to do and how to set up your company, how to set up your business plan, etc. However, although this AI is key, it cannot replace expertise. And some things that you get from AI, you cannot get, some things that you get from speaking to professionals, you cannot get from AI. Something else is, yes, you start thinking, I'm going to do everything myself to not spend a lot, especially if you're a startup and you're cost conscious. By doing so, you're wasting time trying to act like the lawyer, or you're trying to act like the accountant, when really you should be focusing on growing your business, especially in the first year. So that is an advice I can't stress up more about. Finally, also, is to differentiate yourself. There's social media nowadays, and you can see who's on the market. If you want to be successful, you need to have that edge which differentiates you from the rest of the rest of the service providers.
Thank you. Thank you, Giannella. Mariam, you are, knowing what is about having passion, creative energy, and transforming it into, real ventures. This is obviously coming with some challenges. What are the learning lessons that you have and that you can share with us today?
So one of the first lessons I learned is credibility. When you're young, when you're a woman, and when you're building something from scratch, people don't always take you seriously at first. So I had to learn how to position myself, how to build trust. It's been said before, but it's very important to build trust, and how to stay consistent even when the results are not immediate. Another key lesson was resilience. Entrepreneurship is not about avoiding challenges. It is actually about becoming someone who can handle them. I also learned that structure, as my neighbor here was saying earlier, structure is very important. It's as much important as creativity or momentum. You can have a vision, but without systems, discipline, and execution, it cannot scale. And finally, I learned that consistency always wins over intensity. Showing up every day, even in uncertainty, is what builds real foundations.
Thank you. Thank you, Mariam. Renata, you are within, as you say, from Brazil to Portugal, you are meeting, of course, a new generation of entrepreneurs. Many are talented, many have many skills to succeed, but yet many times as well, the visibility aspect is a big challenge. They have challenges to have their venture be known, themselves be more visible in this worldwide social media thing. So to what extent do you believe that personal branding and visibility as a whole is so important right now?
Yeah, as you say, we live in a digital age, and this age is the age of attention. So in the past, only the big companies had access to media channels. And today, each of us has our personal media platforms. And social media has given everyone the opportunity to show their work, their expertise, and building their reputation. And to make business with you or to buy your products or your service, people need to trust you. As all of us tell this and tell about the trust is very important. And this is exactly where personal brand becomes important nowadays, because helps you to build strategy and to others understand your expertise and your values and what makes you different to the others. And over the time, with consistency, this becomes your reputation. Today, when people discover you, and I'm sure that all of you do that today and yesterday, they will check you in the LinkedIn, in the Instagram, in your website, and after your online presence, everybody check this. So they will validation you, so the impression, the experience, and the interaction you create in presential and interaction that you create online has to be congruent, and in this digital age, you will amplify and accelerate your visibility. So I think it's very important nowadays, and you should to be the same person online and offline.
Thank you. Thank you, Renata. Nadia, we are living a transformative time in many industries, and you have been advising and you are advising, from the startup to more, like significant groups. What are the skills and qualities you have seen with the entrepreneurs that are, like successful in the boss, like world? The younger aspect startup and the one that are more, like on mature companies?
From the early stages of a company to the growing and scale up and of each and every company, I think there has been, at least what I've witnessed so far, a common thread. When founders realize at a very, very early stages to surround themselves with a team that can support them. The founders are usually the entrepreneurs, the ones with the vision, and they need to hold on to that vision because they are the ones that know exactly where they want to go and where they want to land and where they want to finish at the end line, even though it's not that clear, the how they need to discover with a team. Because if the founder, and I do have some clients that really struggle with this, that remain in the day-to-day, in the tactical, in the micro of the running of their own business, that takes away most of the thinking time, the strategic time of being able to scale and to grow. Again, as founders, and I think it was mentioned before, the fact that when choosing the right mentors, the right people, being a founder, nowadays, I remember for a small stint as a CEO, now managing my own business, now a newly 11-month-old mother, it's a very lonely place. It's a very lonely place, being there on your own, even though you have your team, you have to take the decisions on your own at the end of the day. So having a trusted advisor, a trusted mentor to identify those blind spots are really important. And I think that is what distinguishes between consistent success and maybe the ones who are constantly busy doing things rather than progressing and going through the evolution.
Thank you, Nadia. Thank you very much. Now, for all the panelists, to wrap up this panel, two important elements we would like to hear you. One is the inspiration force that driving you, where like you see yourself, in like the future, and as well a message you would like to share with the women that are watching, like from around the world, this panel, to encourage them to become entrepreneurs, to follow their path, follow their journey as potential entrepreneurs. Dana.
My advice is to follow your passion. If you have a passion, it will just come naturally to go to the next step, which will be your purpose. And then once you've found your purpose, the next step will then be the success that you will finally feel so confident with. Because all of those pillars there is what gets you to where you want to be on your entrepreneurial journey. And one of the most important things I will also say is network, because network is so big. When you find the network and you find your people and you find your community, this is where things change for you. Don't sit at home thinking someone's going to come and knock on your door and help you with your business. They are not. I used to think that when I was 18, oh, someone's going to come and get my sports brand. I'm going to be in Rebel Sports. Someone's going to knock on my door. Never happened. So I had to go out there and meet people. I had to tell people what I did. And to be honest with you, believe it or not, I am a little bit of an introvert, and I only just started a network in the past 3 years because I knew being in a foreign country, coming from Australia, and then I moved to Singapore, and then I moved to Bali, and then now I'm here. Networking was one of my key things I had to do to let people know who I was, because I started from scratch every place I moved to. So it's so important to network and build a community, and that's where you get inspired, that's where you find connections, and most of all, your people.
Thank you. Aurelia, same question.
Okay, don't wait until you feel ready, because we are not ready 100% and we will be never. Start anyway. You do not need any permission to pursue your ambition. You do not need to know everything to start your first step. Learn, ask a question, make mistake, and improve. Confidence comes because of actions, and do not let anyone define your limits.
Thank you. Thank you. Giannella. We are mic rich, so this is good, you know, like we have a lot of mics, so we are improving as a conference. Thank you. Giannella.
So my advice is definitely not to waste your time on people who tell you or try to convince you, even by not telling it to you directly, that you will not be able to do it or that you can't do it. And I'm speaking here from personal experience. And sometimes, yes, sometimes you get these messages from strangers, sometimes you get these messages from colleagues, bosses, but unfortunately sometimes you even get them from friends and family members. So you need to be careful on listen to the advice and then say, listen, does it apply to me or not? If it's making you stop with achieving your dreams, then it's not good advice.
Thank you. Mariam.
So what I would say is that the most important thing is impact, because I believe that growing and building something meaningful does not happen alone. It happens through bridges, people connections, networking, once again. So I would say, to conclude, that failing and learning are all part of the process. The most meaningful journeys are never perfect.
Thank you. Renata, your message to the women from all over the world and Brazil that are listening to you today.
Do not wait until you feel completely ready. Your experience has value, your history has value, and your voice has value. So your talent can open doors, but your visibility can create opportunity. So don't think too much and do it.
Thank you. Wow. Nadia.
And maybe similar to my colleagues here, I've grappled a lot with I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to do this. I'm not good enough to have a business. I'm not good enough to reach this. We are all good enough. We all have something to offer. We're all unique in our own way, and we have to choose our path and go for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And under your applause, please stand up for the panel picture, and this concludes the session number 1. So please, photographers, the time is yours. Thank you. For the picture.